Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Omar Khalid. But today is the 12th of April 2023, and these are the stories that we will be discussing in detail during the course of the show. We will begin, ladies and gentlemen, by the G20 meeting that India is purportedly going to have in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir region of Srinagar in the month of May. Now, India has decided to hold these G20 meetings in this region, and it has reached out to other countries as well. Now, there has been a strong rebuttal by our Foreign Office as well, because India's current president of the G20 plans to hold tourism working group meeting in Srinagar and two other events, including a consultative forum on youth affairs in Leh and Srinagar. And of course, we'll be talking in detail about different aspects, not only of India's attitude to hoodwink countries on the reality of what is happening in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir Valley, but also Pakistan's efforts to apprise the world about India's realities. Our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the 50 years of our 1973 constitution. On the 10th of April this year, Pakistan's 1973 constitution became 50 years of age. A month-long celebration is of course going to happen during the whole month of April and also in the beginning of May, and the importance of the constitution is paramount when it comes to any democratic country, especially Pakistan. We'll be discussing different facets of that in our second segment, and then we'll be talking of scores of British Pakistanis who have written letters to the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to complain about the racist, unacceptable and inflammatory comments made recently to the British Home Secretary, the UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman, against Pakistani men. Doctors, healthcare workers, entrepreneurs, CEOs and founders have written multiple letters signed by dozens of associations and individuals to Mr. Sunak. We'll be talking about what exactly was that she said against the Pakistani men. And then that brings the end to what we are going to talk today about. We'll begin with India, G20, hoodwinking the international world about the reality of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and Pakistan's efforts to apprise the world about those realities. More in the following report.
In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian troops have made life difficult for the Kashmiri people and human rights are violated there on a daily basis. After the Indian unilateral actions of August 5, 2019, the situation in the occupied territory has become extremely dire, where the basic rights of Kashmiris have been usurped. India is trying to mislead the world by holding a G20 meeting in Srinagar, and thus New Delhi is once again exploiting its membership of an important international grouping to advance its self-serving agenda. India assumed the year-long presidency of G20 in December last year and is conspiring to host third meeting of G20 tourism working group from May the 22nd to 24th in Srinagar. According to a statement, the Foreign Office stated that India's irresponsible move is the latest in the series of self-serving measures to perpetuate its illegal occupation of Jammu and Kashmir in sheer disregard of the UN Security Council resolutions. The Foreign Office had in June last year cautioned G20 countries against accepting Delhi's proposal for holding some of the meetings of the bloc's next year's summit in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, saying it was India's attempt to legitimize its illegal control of the disputed region. Indian forces are involved in war crimes, and it is the duty of the international community to hold India accountable for the killing and brutalization of innocent Kashmiri people.
Now, to discuss different facets of India's designs, whether it be hoodwinking the world, whether it be its atrocities in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and also because of the responsibility that India has being the head of the G20 summit, on whether it can be called a democratic country, a pluralistic country or not, whether it merits being head of the G20. We've been joined by Mukhtar Baba, International Media Incharge, All Parties Hurriyat Conference. Mukhtar Baba, thank you very much to have joined us. We are talking after quite some time. Hope Ramzan is treating you well, and hope everybody is fine at your end. We'll begin with Islamabad's efforts, whether it be the Foreign Office that has taken out a strong rebuttal, in fact a strong reaction to India's attempts to have more than one meeting of the G20 in Srinagar and other parts of India illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and also Islamabad reaching out to these G20 countries to stop New Delhi from holding these meetings in the contested areas. What has the reaction from the world been so far?
Thank you for having me here. Yes, Ramzan is going well, Alhamdulillah. Yes, the latest what it calls statement from Foreign Ministry of Pakistan is a welcome step. Because it's that from last 1,345 days, Indian fascist government led by Narendra Modi, they peddle false propaganda to push the normalcy narrative. And in the Indian administrative, this administration in the occupied Kashmir, they use all military might to suppress the Kashmiris, be it be bulldozing the houses, the attachment of the houses, and it was appropriate at this time that Pakistan government has took an initiative to tell the world community what is happening in the Kashmir, and they will try to stop the members of the G summit not to attend that meeting in the occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, there are three meetings there. One is in two are in Srinagar and one in Leh. And Government of India wants to convey to the world by these holding these meetings that all is well in the Kashmir, which actually is not. To be very, what it we should tell that there is a silence to be, but it is a graveyard silence. And the Government of India tries to show the world community the graveyard silence as a normalcy. So this is a welcome step as far as the Pakistan government is concerned. They should push their diplomats into the world to tell to tell the world communities, world bodies that the government is the government of India is bulldozing even the houses of the common Kashmiris.
Now, Mukhtar Baba, coming to the this G20 summit, the APHC has also made a call not only to the countries that belong to the G20 but also to the United Nations to boycott the G20 summit in Srinagar. Have you received any reaction so far?
Yes, because I believe that maybe Turkey and some other Muslim countries may try to not attend the events in the Kashmir, but we are hopeful that not only the Muslim countries but everybody in the 18 members will not attend those meetings. So we are hopeful for that because as the European Union has said that Kashmir is a beautiful prison in the world. So they know what exactly is happening in the Kashmir. What we need, we need to aspire the world to tell the world that exactly after 5th August 2019, what's happening. That it is a totally new what it called atrocities committed on the masses of Kashmir.
All right, Mukhtar Baba, also the APHC has made a call on the United Nations Secretary General to take a step and appoint a special representative to explore a viable solution to the festering Kashmir dispute. Has any reaction come from the United Nations Secretary General's office in that regard, or are you awaiting a response?
So this is a long pending demand of ours that there should be some what it called representative to settle the Kashmir dispute. But unfortunately, that from the United Nations in last 75 years and in particularly in last 3 decades, they are not showing any interest in the appointing that representative. But we are hopeful that we are trying our best not only to approach the OIC contact group, the United Nations, and I hope that with the help of the Pakistan that we will able to do that.
Now, coming back to the G20, Mukhtar Baba, the Foreign Office has made a very strong statement as a reaction to that. And herein it says that India is again exploiting its membership of an important organization, and here we are referring to the G20, to advance its self-serving agenda. Do you mean that India is unable, in your point of view, do you mean that India is unable to act as a responsible member of the international community? Because of the way it is trying to, hoodwink the international community for its purposes.
Obviously, yes. If we see that in last 1,345 days, the atrocities has reached to its last extent, to its hilt. So we being a Kashmiri, we are not, it's not only the political repression, it's all religious, cultural, and so many, the leaders, the Masratam, the chairman of all parties, Hurriyat conference, he's languishing into jail from last 26
Hmm,
years.
hmm, hmm.
And not only him, but so many leaders are there, and not only, and the social activists, human rights defenders, journalists, every voice has been silenced, because we were trying to tell the world, we were trying our stories to the world, what is happening in the Kashmir. So yes, definitely India's to getting this the chairmanship of the G-20. They are trying to they are trying to maneuver the things and try to being at the governance of all major international economic issues, and meticulously gathering the attention of the validate its crime against humanity in the Indian or illegal occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
All right. The fact remains that India, on the one hand, tries to give that image of being a pluralistic, of being a democratic country, and on the other hand, with all the barbarities and all that is happening just in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, we're not even going beyond that on what it is doing to the Muslims and to the other minorities within India. Let's talk just about the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Do you feel because of the fact that so many resolutions on this contested region are with the United Nations General Assembly, shouldn't the United Nations General Assembly intervene and say, you cannot have a summit in an area that is contested, in a region that is contested internationally?
Yes, obviously, it is a responsibility of the United Nations that they should tell India that it is an international disputed territory. So you cannot hold these type of summits in the occupied region. So, but we believe that we have to push and we have to struggle for that. And they are again, I may tell you that India is trying her best to show what it called the so-called the largest democracy to the world, which is not. So we know, being a Kashmiri, we know what the brutal fascist face of the India.
All right, Mukhtar Baba, also G20 countries also know what the situation in India illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is. You've talked about Turkey, you've talked about some other countries that might not go, in your point of view, to attend these meetings in the contested region. Will there be addition of other countries? One of your representatives of Azad Jammu and Kashmir has also talked about China's reaction that might come in the next coming days. Do you feel, in the whole context of that, will the countries give the image to India that what it is doing is wrong as far as holding these meetings in a contested area?
Yes, we hope that China will not attend those meetings, because in the last week, when Indian Union Home Minister Amit Shah visited Arunachal Pradesh, they lodged a strong protest for that he should not visit the Arunachal Pradesh because that is a disputed territory, and they have given the what it calls signals, that China has given the signals that they may not going to attend these meetings. Not only China, we hope all the 18 countries will not attend these meetings. We hope so.
All right. Also, I'd like to understand if this meeting happens and if countries from the G20 attend this meeting in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, what kind of effect or ramification is it going to have on the Pakistan-India or India-China relationship?
See, to be very honest, I feel that holding such events in the occupied region will have no impact on the United Nations resolution. Even 5th August 2019, that unilateral and illegal decision by the fascist Modi government has no what it called local standard for that United Nations resolution. Disputed territory is a disputed territory, and we have to decide this through a democratic vote as per the United Nations resolution. But yes, they are trying to. We can say that they are trying to hoodwink the international community by holding such events and keeping everybody into jail, bulldozing our houses, rapes, destruction, burning our houses, killing the young ones, rape that has been the instrumental for of the war. So all these atrocities, after all these atrocities of last 3 decades, they are trying to tell the world community that 5th August, that people of Jammu and Kashmir have accepted the 5th August 2019 decision, but which is not true. We are all against that, and we will try our best to tell the world community that we don't accept any illegal or annexation and unilateral accession by the India. What we exactly want, we want that the United Nations resolution should be implemented in its letter and spirit, and we should decide our future according to United Nations resolutions.
On the one hand, India is trying to, create an image that everything is fine in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir Valley, and that is why it is holding this or more than one meeting in Srinagar, in Leh, to kind of dispel the opinion that India, the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir region is A, disputed, B, is under any kind of pressure. That is, the people of the area are under any kind of pressure. But do you feel retrospectively, or even thinking of that, seeing the fact that many international organizations have posted editorials on the situation in the Indian Held Valley, many human rights organizations have taken out reports on the situation of the men, women, children in the disputed valley. Do you feel this might also have an effect that might go in the favor of the Kashmiris, that there might be more articles on the actual situation in the Indian Held Valley?
Exactly, I believe not only the organizations, but you can see that the United Nations Human Rights Group, they came with the two reports in 2019 and 2020. They are there and they know that what exactly is the situation. Let me tell you that government of India is facelifting the Srinagar from last 1 month. They have removed all the bunkers. They are painting all the what it called walls to show the world, to show the people that it's not that there is no footprints of the military, the troops on the streets, and they have almost 100 bunkers have been removed from the airport road in the main city of Lal Chowk and the Boulevard Road, where they are proposing these things. So what they are trying to do is that they want to give a rosy picture of Kashmir, but exactly we know it's not just the Indian media or the Asian media. The world media is everywhere, and I hope that people will get that the Kashmir will get attention by holding this what it called the facade summit. So that people will come to know about the atrocities inflicted on the people of Kashmir in the last 3 years.
And I'm sure many publications will write in advance about what is the actuality or the reality of not only the BJP government, but also the atrocities that are being perpetrated on the people in the Indian Held Valley. Speaking of these atrocities, speaking of the attitude of the BJP-led government with its Hindutva doctrine and its RSS policies, do you feel, in your point of view, that a country like India is eligible to hold the presidency of a prestigious organization like the G-20?
This is very unfortunate, to be very honest, that the India is holding the G20 presidency. So this is really unfortunate. It's not all about that. We can see, as you rightly said, that we are talking about the Jammu and Kashmir. If we see the minorities, whether it is Sikhs, the Khalistani movement, whether we will see the Muslims, that how they destroy on the Ram Navami, the masjids, the mandars, the what we call the Christian, they are inflicting atrocities on the Christians as well. So even the Dalits, to be very honest. So, but we will come to the Kashmir, that we will try our best to tell the world that what is happening all over. And unfortunately, this is, again, I said, this is very unfortunate that India is holding this what it called the G20 summit presidency. It should not have been there. As far as the human rights record is concerned of India. Not only in Kashmir, but in whole India.
That is true. But looking at the spate of affairs that is currently happening in the Indian held valley, whether it be the raiding of houses of freedom leaders such as Zafar Akbar Bhatt, which has been raided 4 times in the past 30 days, whether it be the incarceration of human rights activists or journalists or Kashmiri freedom fighters who are trying to highlight their rights to self-determination, their right to give them, to decide for themselves what they want to do with this disputed land, whether it be the Indian experts that are also saying that India is continuously violating international laws, conventions in the Indian held valley. Everything is, going on deaf ears as far as the Indian government is concerned. But is it also going on deaf ears as far as the important countries across the world are concerned?
Not exactly. I don't agree with this that it is going to deaf ears. The situation, see, we have to wait for the there is always, after every 100 years, that we have seen the geographical change around the globe. So we hope, being a Kashmiri, we hope that yes, there will be a change, geographical change in the near future. And it's not only just the human rights defenders, the political activists, even journalists. I may tell you that one of a research scholar was arrested and he is under the UAPA in the jail for writing an article. And even some people are arrested because they have written a Facebook or a Twitter post. So they have reached the highest on the highest pedal of these atrocities. Even you cannot write a tweet as far as the Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. If you will write a tweet, you will get arrested. So recently they have arrested Irfan Miraj, who happens to be a journalist, and a concocted case was he was arrested under a concocted case and put in the Tihar jail, the infamous Tihar jail. So the other journalists who are arrested, and there are multiple raids on the houses of the journalists on the daily basis. Because the reason is that they should not write about the atrocities of the Jammu and Kashmir, and the world community should not know about all these things. But we are hopeful that yes, there will be a solution very soon of this dispute.
All right. Now, I refer to what illegally detained all parties Hurriyat Conference Chairman Mukhtar Alam Butt recently said. He said that India is subjecting Kashmiris to socio-economic aggression. Now, in your point of view, what would be the moral standing of all those countries that have pledged to attend the G-20 summit in Srinagar, in Leh as well, in an area where the majority is denied their basic human rights, where people are brutalized, where people are plundered?
Yes, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference Chairman Mukhtar Alam Butt recently gave a detailed statement from the Tihar jail. In a message, he said that how India is trying her best to make the economic cripple in the Jammu and Kashmir. Even he addressed it to that 2,000 crores of the Apple industry, where they somehow they got the deficit of the 2,000 crores in the recent past, and that was not something natural. That was deliberately done by the government of India. So all these things that it's there, it's not just the socio-economic, our religion, our culture, our what it called, everything has been. They are trying to crash the political wise, the what it called, everything, whether it is a religion or the culture. So they are trying our best. So Mukhtar Alam Butt has rightly said that these things will not deter people of Jammu and Kashmir to cry for the Azadi, to cry for the plebiscite, and I hope that yes, definitely the people of Jammu and Kashmir will struggle and strive for the right of self-determination.
Inshallah Ta'ala, Mukhtar Baba, Pakistan will always be supporting its Kashmiri brethren diplomatically, politically, And of course, with all its fervor and resistance that has already been shown by the Foreign Office in its statement to the Indian request of holding this G20 summit, in fact, more than one meeting in the Indian held valley. Thank you so very much, Mukhtar Baba, International Media Incharge, All Parties Hurriyat Conference, to have joined us, to have talked to us about this very strange attitude by India, who on the one hand is brutalizing people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and denying them their right to self-determination and even basic human rights, and on the other hand wants to show to the G20 countries that the contested, disputed region is in fact a very safe place to hold the G20 meetings and summits. Let's come to our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, and that concerns the 50th anniversary or the golden jubilee celebrations of our 1973 constitution. 10th of April 1973 was the day when the constitution was accepted by the majority members of the then parliament, and now it has been 50 years. It's going to be a month-long celebration across Pakistan to highlight the constitution of 1973, to highlight the importance of abiding by the different paragraphs and the different pointers that are given, the guidelines that are given by this very constitution of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. We've been joined by Agha Iqrar Haroon. He's a political analyst for this very segment to talk about Pakistan's constitution, to talk about the importance of Pakistan's constitution. Agha Iqrar Haroon Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. It's a pleasure to have you for the first time in our show, and I hope we will continue to return to our show to talk about important matters. The 1973 constitution, Agha Saab, is an essence of the vision of our Qaid Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Allama Iqbal Saab, and the founders of Pakistan. Do you feel that the current generation understands the importance of this constitution?
Thank you, Omar, for calling me. As you have asked me a very beautiful question and very pertinent question. Unfortunately, what has happened after 1977, that has created a situation where our young generation doesn't know anything about the constitution. Our syllabus books before 1977 had at least 2 or 3 subjects, or you can say episodes in our Pakistan studies book or in Urdu books about the constitution and the formation of the constitution. But our syllabus was totally categorically changed after 1977 martial law, and even after that it has, unfortunately, this constitution has yet not come back in our syllabus. This is a very important and very sensitive issue.
But Maryam Aurangzeb Sahiba has said on the record on the 10th of April that it will become part of the curriculum, Constitution of Pakistan.
It should be. Look, I teach in universities and I teach these students of master's class, and honestly I'm telling you, and I teach in mass communication, journalism and foreign affairs. Honestly I'm telling you, my students 90% don't know about Pakistani constitution, who made it, when it was made, why it was made, what is the importance of the constitution. The most important thing is importance of the constitution. And with responsibility I am telling, constitution has yet to come back in our syllabus. At least 3 subjects which I teach in universities. So there is a dire need for that. And
exactly. I understand that dire need, Iqrar Saab. Also, I'd like to understand the very basis, the very fact that we have a very important constitution, that is the 1973 constitution, that calls for the rule of law, that calls for respect for civil rights and democracy in our country, Islamic Republic of Pakistan. In 1973, on the 10th of April, people from different political backgrounds came together and had a common opinion on passing this constitution. What lessons in 2023 do you feel can be derived in looking at the current political issues that plague Pakistan?
First of all, let me add one point. I had been teaching in different countries, and I'm telling you with full honesty, they always celebrate their constitutional day. Pakistan is the most unfortunate country. We are still shy to celebrate the constitutional day, and all universities, school, colleges are closed down. At educational institutions are closed down on the constitutional day, and students and academia come on stage and they raise slogans for the protection of the constitution. This culture has never ever been developed in Pakistan. Reasons come what may, but
But
one of the
better
reasons is
late than
that
never.
it has
Iqrar sahab,
always
better
been
late than never.
supplemented whenever.
Better late than never. It's
Sorry.
better to start it now than to again wait for it. So better late than never. At least the coming generation will learn the importance of the constitution, the different parts of the constitution, and will learn the truth about what the constitution represents. But what kind of message or lessons, in your point of view, can be derived as far as this current political scenario is concerned from our very constitution?
The most important, you can say, message is that no country can survive without constitution. You cannot make a nation without constitution. Nations are made through their constitution. And you have seen whenever there was an onslaught on democracy, this was our constitution. Although it was very much weaker, limited, changed after 1977, even then, this has protected the human rights. This has protected the right of freedom. This has protected your right and my right. So constitution is basically a safeguard, a strong safeguard which ensure your protection from subjugation. So these are the points that should be, transferred to our youth. But I am telling you, please forgive me, this is still not been done. And even, the Constitution Day just, 3 days ago, I was thinking that this Constitution Day would be celebrated like that. There would be, a national holiday for school, at least for the educational institution, but it never happened. So we will have to wait for another year. And in between this 1 year, what happens, nobody knows. So this is always, we are delaying things. We are delaying to transfer the importance of Constitution to our youth. This is my very important and very sensitive subject.
But it is very important for this very youth that is currently polarized to such an extent that we see so many, below the belt comments on different social media platforms, Twitter included, Facebook, Instagram included. They need to understand the values that our constitution has prescribed as far as how to proceed in a democratic institution, in a democratic country such as Pakistan. That means that even in universities, the constitution of Pakistan should be made an important part and parcel. There have been many amendments, Iqrar sahab, as far as this very constitution is concerned, but some of the amendments have been very beneficial. For example, the 25th amendment to integrate FATA into Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, then the 26th amendment to increase the membership of representatives from former FATA areas in the parliament. How, in your point of view, have these constitutional provisions or provisions that have been integrated later in the constitution helped stabilize, strengthen this constitution?
You have already mentioned very important amendments. And these amendments are basically, look, a constitution is a live book. It should not be, you can say, stagnant. So always amendments are very important. The latest amendment, which basically ensure the supremacy of constitution and supremacy of the parliament, is very important. The last one, which we had day before yesterday. But still, there are some amendments which are not being touched that were added into 1985 revival or constitution. They should also be documented. One of them, I mentioned that there are some clauses which are basically marginalizing the supremacy of the parliament. This is, you cannot talk about two institutions in Pakistan under the constitution. This constitution, you cannot talk about two institutions. But why should not be the third institution? The parliament is there. There should be at least three, you can say institution, the parliament and the both, they are already mentioned. Nobody should talk about them. So the parliament is still marginalized even in this constitution, and this needed very important. And one more important thing, if I have 2 minutes, if you remember what happened during Chaudhry Amir Hussain when he was a speaker and he subjugated parliament and the constitution, that time all parliamentarians who were in a opposition, they decided that yes, we should go for the clamp or at least review the power of the speaker, but they didn't do it. And then we have seen again that situation in when this PTI speaker disbanded the National Assembly. So still we are not touching two very important things. One, the very useless powers delegated to the president, and secondly, the extreme power of the speaker that can really harm the constitution and the parliament and the democracy in Pakistan. So there must be more amendments in the constitution, because our constitution, as Sartre, one day Sartre said, who is the biggest enemy of the democracy? Sartre said, democracy has its enemy within itself, because it gives the right for objections. And these objections sometimes are used against the democracy. And it happening in Pakistan. The right given by the constitution is being used against the constitution.
That is so true. That is so true. I completely agree with you, Agha, Iqrar, Haroon Saab. Now, let's talk about the 18th Amendment, where it was passed in 2010 by the Parliament. This was also with the consensus of all the parties. The most significant part of this amendment, and let me say that on the record, has been the strengthening of the federal structure of state and transforming the relations between the centres and the provinces, giving more autonomy to the provinces as well. In your point of view, what has been the impact of this amendment?
I mean, you have seen your provinces are free to do so many things, including education policies, health policies, and even they can go for you can say funding from the foreign donors. So this 18 amendments is one of the strongest amendments in Pakistani Constitution of 1973, and it has triggered down a feeling of, you can say, a feeling of involvement of provinces, because before that federation, or you can say center, was much stronger. Now the power is delegated or transfer, or you can say, or trickle down effect to the provinces. Now this is the responsibility of the provinces to take over it properly. And because unfortunately some provinces are still lagging in particularly in energy, for example. According to 18 amendment, you can produce your energy. I mean, Pakistan energy crisis is just because of sorry, because provinces are now producing not producing energy still, although it is delegated and transferred to the provinces, the much of the energy is looked after by the center. So this 18 amendment was very important, because before 18 amendment, our smaller provinces were thinking they are denied to their rights. I mean, these feelings are no more there now.
Agha, Iqrar, Haroon, you are also an educationist. You also gave me the importance of teaching constitution in different levels of the curriculum on the school level, on the college level, and the university level as well. One of the facets of the 18th Amendment is also the recognition of the children's right to education and compulsory education for girls and boys for up to the age of 16. How significant has been this amendment also for the right to education for Pakistan's children?
It's very important. And again, I'm telling you, this is responsibility of the provinces. I mean, they should come forward and they should tailor some, you can say, opportunities, and they should offer some opportunities plus incentives to people to send their daughters particularly to higher education. This is very important. And one more thing, through your show, I would like to request the state of Pakistan, which I have seen in 3 Central Asian countries. When you enter into school, you take an oath on the constitution that you will protect the constitution and your state. Why should we cannot do it? This is my question. Because this is not one-sided. If provinces or if the constitution is providing you something, this is your responsibility to protect the constitution also.
All right. When we look at 1973, if we go back to the 10th of April 1973, it was because of the efforts of the then People's Party chairman, leader Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, that this constitution came into being. And the party has also been, it has had the first female Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan in the form of Benazir Bhutto Sahiba as well. How would you describe the efforts of different political parties in order to strengthen the constitution of Pakistan over these 5 decades? Thank
you so much for this very pertinent question. I am very happy to see the third generation of those who were part of PNA and who signed this document of the constitution. The third generation is sitting over there. Bilawal Bhutto is the third generation. The son of, Mufti Mahmood, grandson is there. There are many people who are the third and second generation of people who made this constitution possible. So, this is the success of the constitution. Under all bad circumstances, extremely difficult circumstances, constitution survived, and people who are the part of making it still sitting in Pakistani parliament. This is the beauty of this constitution and the beauty of the parliamentarian system.
But what I also like to add to that is, why are there certain political parties who deliberately want to squash or give a very negative light to this very constitution, to democratic values in Pakistan, by not adhering to them?
Let me be honest. There is only one party. This is PTI, which is psychologically, this man was in favor of presidential form of government, and Imran Khan was going to hold a referendum in May 2022. In that referendum, he was going to ask people to change the presidential parliamentarian system to the presidential form of government. He is from the very first day, he is against the Constitution of 1973 and the parliamentary system. There is only one party, that is PTI, which is already creating ambiguities about the parliamentary system.
But isn't it the responsibility when you become a member of any assembly of Pakistan? Isn't it your moral, your legal responsibility to adhere by the Constitution of Pakistan?
Absolutely, yes. They took the oath of that, but their attempt to enter into parliament was different. They were planned. They were crafted. You would go inside the parliament and then you will change the parliamentarian system while sitting in the parliament. This was their duty. The duty was given by those who crafted Imran Khan and PTI since 2007. So that is why they came into parliament. Look, whenever they are in not government, have they ever be inside the parliament? No. They always went out of the parliament because they don't believe in the parliament. They believe parliament only for their power. If parliament is giving them the seat of the prime ministership, then it is okay.
This seat comes with a lot of responsibility, doesn't it? Every seat in any assembly of Pakistan comes with a lot of responsibility. A responsibility to not only adhere to the Constitution of Pakistan, but to abide by it 100% and follow it like a true representative of the state.
Absolutely right. And this is what, even the Supreme Court of Pakistan has indicated, that you had some responsibility towards the parliament when you are the member of the parliament. But again, I'm telling you, Omar, they were asked, they were trained, they were designed, they were crafted to kill the parliamentarian system. That is why they don't give damn to the parliamentarian system and constitution.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, sir, to have joined us, to have talked to us in detail. And this was my first interaction with you. I hope I'll get to see more of you in the coming days and weeks, and we'll have lots to discuss as far as not only the Constitution of Pakistan, but also so many other issues concerning Pakistan. Let's come to our last story, and that concerns the British Home Minister. Now, faith leaders, community groups, professional forums, activists have now come together to issue condemnation of Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, Suella Braverman's racist rhetoric concerning the men of Pakistan. She made these comments from a series of interviews that she gave last week that now have been labeled as inflammatory and divisive. Pakistani organizations have also been joined by British Nigerian, British Indian, British Bengali and others in mounting this condemnation. The British Pakistan Foundation has also called on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to distance himself from Braverman's extremist rhetoric. Also, community leaders from different parts of the United Kingdom, Wales, Scotland have labelled this approach as an act of collective punishment for the reprehensible acts of a few. The British Pakistan Foundation has also said its 18,000 strong members want action from the PM. Whether the Prime Minister will make any action or not, that is only time will tell. Also, lawyer Baroness Sayyida Warsi, who's also a British politician, has said that Miss Braverman resorting to a lazy narrative about British Pakistani men stokes division, and it is her ploy to win votes. I understand if you want to win votes, and I've seen that globally, but by taking stance on any particular thing that could inflame, that could entice people, and hence you get more popularity because more and more people listen to you or try to listen to what you have to say. But on the other hand, isn't this a below the belt tactic? I think I'll leave my viewers to judge that. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new story segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Allah Hafiz.